It was late into the night when Emma, Jake, and Sarah decided to take the shortcut. The air was cold, and a creeping fog rolled in, almost suffocating the narrow road that stretched before them. They were just minutes away from home, or so they thought. They had been driving for hours, and the winding, unfamiliar streets felt like they were teasing them, pulling them farther from the comfort of their warm beds. "We should have turned back a long time ago," Emma muttered, her eyes scanning the dark road ahead. Sarah, the adventurous one of the group, leaned forward from the back seat. "Come on, guys. We've been here before. There's a shortcut through the woods, and we'll get there in no time. Trust me, I know the way." Jake hesitated. "Are you sure? It's late, and the fog is getting worse." But Sarah was persistent. "It's the quickest way, you'll see, don't worry." Reluctantly, they agreed, and Sarah directed Jake to a small, overgrown path that cut through the forest. The tires crunched against the gravel, the headlights barely slicing through the heavy mist. As they entered the dense trees, the world outside seemed to vanish. The noise of their car was swallowed by the silence of the forest, and the fog wrapped itself tighter around them, reducing visibility to mere feet. Minutes passed. Then, an hour. They should have reached the end of the shortcut by now, but instead, the road seemed to stretch on, twisting and turning in impossible ways. Each bend led to another, until they felt like they were going in circles. "Sarah, are you sure we're not lost?" Jake's voice had a strained edge now. Emma leaned forward, peering through the windshield. The trees all looked the same, gnarled, twisted, and devoid of life. "We've passed that same dead oak tree twice," she said, her voice quivering. "I don't understand," Sarah said, her excitement waning. "This is the right path. I swear we should be out by now." The car sputtered. The engine coughed, and the lights flickered. The fog pressed in harder, and the temperature dropped so rapidly that their breath fogged up the windows. The sound of their tires crunching against the gravel was the only noise left in the world. "Okay, let's just get out and walk," Jake suggested, his voice tight. "Maybe we'll find something on foot." Hours passed. They kept walking in silence, hoping to find a sign, a street, anything. But the more they walked, the more they felt the same. The path was endless. "We've been here before," Emma whispered, her eyes wide with panic. "This can't be right." Jake spun around, his breath ragged. "This is wrong. We're stuck." Suddenly, there was a sound behind them, distant at first, then growing louder. The unmistakable sound of a car's engine. They whirled around, but there was nothing, just fog. But the sound remained, creeping closer. "Who's out there?" Sarah shouted, her voice breaking. "Show yourself." The sound stopped. The fog thickened. A shape appeared, distant at first, then solidifying. It was a figure in the mist, a shadow of a person walking toward them. But something was wrong. The figure was pale, ghostly, its face distorted, stretching in unnatural ways. Before they could react, the figure vanished into the mist, and the engine sound returned, closer, closer, until the car appeared out of nowhere, just like the shadow. It was their own car, the one they had abandoned. But the doors were locked, and inside, there was no sign of the keys. "What the hell?" Jake gasped. The forest grew even darker, and the fog seemed to twist, becoming more oppressive, until they felt like they couldn't breathe. It was as if the forest was swallowing them whole. Just when they thought they couldn't take it anymore, the fog suddenly cleared. They were standing on a familiar street. They were home. They reached their houses, eager to see their families, but when they tried to open the doors, they found them locked, locked from the inside. The windows were dark, lifeless. "What's going on?" Emma whispered, her voice shaking. "Why isn't anyone here?" Panic set in as they turned to look around. On the telephone poles, on street corners, everywhere, were missing person posters. Their faces stared back at them from the torn paper, bold letters reading, "Missing. Last seen 2 years ago."